If your Switch 2 Joy-Cons start drifting, Nintendo will tell you to recalibrate them, but recalibration is a temporary solution, so I'm going a step further. I'm upgrading these joysticks with Gulikit's drift-resistant TMR modules. For this repair, you'll need a tri-point Y00 driver, a JIS00 driver, a spudger, opening picks, and tweezers. As always, our written guides on iFixit.com are the perfect companion to such repairs. Be sure to check out the Switch 2 Joy-Con guide at the link in the description. Starting with the left edge of the right Joy-Con, use a tri-point Y00 driver to remove the 2 black screws on both corners. Now grab an opening pick and slide it under the plastic cover that sits under the bumper on the right side. Gently pry up and slide the pick down to separate the clips and adhesive holding it in place. Remove the 2 hidden screws underneath, 1 tri-point and 1 JIS screw. If you're using a Phillips in a pinch, press down hard and turn slowly because these strip easily. Next, slide a pick along the seam of the back cover to release the clips. You might find it easier to start at the top near the trigger button. Gently separate the cover and open it like a book. Firmly grab the yellow and white wires on the bottommost connector and remove the connector. Do the same with the battery connector. The trigger is next. Slide a pick between the R bumper and ZR trigger, pry gently upwards until it pops off. Now remove the release button by lifting it straight out. The battery sits inside the midframe, which is held in place by 5 screws. Make sure you track the order of removal. Refer to our written guides if you mix up the different length screws. There's a release button bracket at the top that comes out along with the R button. Remove the JIS screw securing the trigger button board, slide the point of a spudger under it, and lift the flex PCB to the side. Remove the midframe. Using a spudger, flip up the locking flap on the trigger button board ZIF and remove the flex cable. With the board fully exposed, use your spudger to flip up the locking flaps on the remaining ZIF connectors and disconnect all 3 of them. Now remove the 5 screws holding the board down. Lift one edge of the board up and slide the whole thing out to the left. We're finally at the joystick. Remove the 2 screws securing it in place and lift the stick out. This is where you swap in your Gulikit TMR stick. Drop it in place and replace the 2 screws to secure it. Slide the board back in at an angle, making sure to pass the joystick ribbon cable through the cutout in the board first. Replace the 5 screws securing the board and reconnect the 3 flex cables. Reattach the trigger button board flex cable and move it to one side in order to replace the midframe. Realign the trigger button board flex inside its housing and secure it in place with its screw. Replace the release button bracket and snap the R bumper back into place. Make sure the springs are seated correctly. Now screw back in the 5 midframe screws. Insert the trigger and make sure you line it up carefully with the protruding section of the spring and press it until it clicks. Now reinstall the release button. Reconnect the battery, followed by the rumble motor connector. Replace the back cover and reinstall the 2 tri-point screws on one side and the single tri-point and silver JIS screw on the other. Finally, snap the plastic strip back into place, starting from the bottom clips and working your way up so it sits flush. That's the right Joy-Con done. Now we'll move over to the left Joy-Con and repeat the process. Start by removing the 2 tri-point screws on the right edge. Insert an opening pick under the bumper on the left side and pry up slightly to lift the plastic strip. Then work your way down with the pick. Remove the 2 screws underneath, 1 tri-point black screw and 1 silver JIS screw. Insert an opening pick under the back cover and slide it down to release the clips. Like before, open it up like a book. Disconnect the blue and white rumble motor connector to separate the back cover. Next, disconnect the battery by pulling the white JST connector up and out. Lift the release button, then insert a pick between the L bumper and ZL trigger and pry up to remove the trigger. Remove the 2 screws securing the release button bracket and pry the bracket up and remove it. Now remove the 3 screws securing the midframe and gently pry off the L bumper. Lift it slightly up and out. Remove the last screw securing the trigger button board, then slide a spudger underneath and pop it to the side. The midframe housing the battery is now free and can be lifted out. Flip up the locking flap on the trigger board ZIF connector and remove the trigger board. Now disconnect the locking flap on the joystick ZIF connector and disconnect the flex cable. Unscrew the 5 screws securing the board, then tilt the board up from the right edge and up to the left. Gently hold it in place and remove the 2 screws securing the joystick housing. Remove it and drop in your new Gulikit TMR joystick and reinstall the 2 screws. Use a pair of tweezers to guide the joystick flex cable through the cutout in the board and drop the board back in place. Reinstall the 5 screws securing the board and reconnect the joystick flex cable. Position the trigger board ribbon cable and lock it into place. It's time to replace the midframe. Align the trigger board ribbon cable in its housing and reinstall the single screw securing it. Reinstall the L bumper, making sure the springs are properly seated, followed by the 3 mid-frame screws. Snap the release button bracket back in place, then reinstall its 2 screws. Pop in the trigger, making sure the spring legs are properly seated. Now reinstall the release button. Reconnect the battery connector, followed by the rumble motor connector, and slide the back cover in place. Replace the 2 tri-point screws on one side, followed by the single tri-point and silver JIS screw on the other. Snap the plastic strip back into place, starting from the bottom and working your way up. At this point, both Joy-Cons are fully reassembled with new TMR joysticks. Power them back on, reconnect to your switch, and head into the controller settings to test input and run calibration if needed. If everything feels smooth and centered, you're done, and drift should be a thing of the past.